we've had to shift things up a little bit, with the backdrop, because essentially I couldn't get the color grading to work properly. It was a bit weird over there, and then my hair looked odd, and then my face looked weird, and I just didn't want to do it. And so I was standing here doing a meeting, and I thought, you know what? We're just gonna do it right now, right here, because we're just friends, you and I. You don't have to judge me on the way my videos look. You have to judge me on what I say and what I want to say. Well, first of all, we have to keep calm. We have to absolutely keep calm. We have to keep calm on everything that's going on at Man United right now, because there's so much in the air and there's so much going on, and we shouldn't. I can't do it. We won the derby. We won the derby. We won the derby. We won the derby. In the last video, I had to talk about how we were losing to Nottingham Forest and how upset I was. But no, we beat Queen Victoria Pilsen, right, in midweek, and then we're going into the derby. I'm thinking, well, he's dropped Rashford, he's dropped Garnacho, like there's civil war going on at United, all these leaks, and what's he done? It's paid off. Everything he's done is paid off. He's paid off in terms of who he wanted to, what statements he wanted to make before the game. It's paid off in terms of how we played. We ended up getting a result at the Etihad, and not just a result, but we got it in the right way. We got it doing United stuff. We scored late minute goals, and we controlled the second half, and we didn't look like conceding at all. We shifted our back line around a lot, and yet we still did really well. Haaland did nothing. Foden did nothing. Kevin De Bruyne did nothing. But Amad Diallo did everything, and it was a wonderful day, and I'm really happy. Yay, it was great. And I I lost my mind a little bit there, but overall we cannot escape the fact that this was the type of game where realistically no one expected us to get much out of it, did they? No one expected us to do as well as we have done. No one expected us to go ahead and beat Man City fair and square, because that is essentially what we've done. We've beaten them fair and square. And, I want to talk about the week in general, but essentially the Victoria Pilsen game, all I really took from that, really, is that I thought there was going to be even more chaos. And it was worrying. I was a bit worried after the Pilsen game, thinking, have we learned anything from the Ten Hag thing? Have we learned anything from how the midfield is supposed to control games and operate, and we're still isolating certain players, we're still being run through, and still letting more energetic teams who want it more than we do take the game away from us? That's how it felt watching the Pilsen game. But, Højlund came up trumps, Bruno Fernandes came up trumps, and those kind of gritty little games you have to get over the line, and we did. Simple as that. It's our first away win in Europe for a year. And now, moving swiftly on to the Manchester derby, because there's a lot to talk about in this, but moving on to the Manchester derby, that's our Ruben Amorim is the first Manchester United manager since Sir Alex Ferguson to win his first derby, and he did it away from home. He also did it with the same result that Sir Alex won his first derby, 2-1. So I'm not going to say anything, but it's clear that we got the rejuvenation of the great Scotsman as in the form of a Portuguese man with good bone structure and beard follicles. But it's... Honestly, I went into this game thinking, and I go into every game now, and I feel like fans should go into games like this. I mean, who am I to say what you should and shouldn't do? But for me, I go into games purely for my own sanity, thinking I'm not going to expect way too much of where we're going. What I want to see is progress. Every single game, I want to see, what are we trying to do? We might not be able to do it just yet, but what are we trying to go for? Do I agree with that? And a lot of games we've done that. The Forest game was the only one where I think I was really disappointed with everything. I was really disappointed with the Forest game. But in this one, you just think, well, we were undone by our own stupidity a little bit, conceding that first goal, and you think, here we go again. But frankly, did Man City look like scoring after that? I don't think so. And you can talk about it being a mid-off and it being like a bad derby and all that. It was a bad derby. It was a pretty bad derby. But someone had to win it, or it could have been a draw. And we ended up taking the bait. And the reason we did that is because one thing Amorim has tried to do is insert a lot more control into Manchester United games and into our performances. And we controlled the midfield. And Kevin De Bruyne, Phil Foden, Bernardo Silva, all these big name players didn't do anything. And because they were shut out by the work from Ugarte, by the work from Mainu, from the work in our back three, who looked far more coordinated today than they ever have so far, frankly, under him. And, there were some standout performances in there, but that control element of the game was something that we don't see enough of, and we haven't seen enough of, and we've been crying out to start seeing that in any game. In any game, we want to see that against lower opposition or lesser opposition, to not, disrespect anybody, but we want to be seeing that against every team. But we did it against Manchester City. And frankly, the last 3 games that we've had with Manchester City, we should have won the Community Shield. We should have. I've watched that game back at least twice. We should have won that. We should have held out for the win. And the FA Cup final was the last one before that. So the last 3 games against Manchester City, we've beaten them fair and square 2 times out of those 3. One was at Wembley and one was at their own gaff. So it's like, we're doing quite well against them. And it was nice to kind of get a bit of a monkey off our backs in the league, because even though we'd beaten City at home, we beat Liverpool at home and all these sorts of things, like our away record, it was like, this was our first win in 16, I think, away from home, 15 or 16. So it's nice to get that monkey off our backs now. We don't have to talk about that anymore, which is really handy. And just going from back to front, I thought Onana had an okay game. I'm a little bit, I'll be honest, I'm a little bit disappointed with the way Onana is starting to look a bit shaky. Like he's made a couple of fumbles in the last 2 games, but before this one. But I thought, especially with the ball at his feet, he needs to get it out quicker, doesn't he? I don't know why he spends so long on it. Maybe is that a tactic to get more control? Maybe, but Haaland, we're lucky that Haaland didn't breathe down his neck as much as he should have done, because that should have been a tactic for City. But even when he's popping out balls to Maz and Diallo on the wings, I expect them to land each time, because that's what you're good at. They weren't good in this game, and he struggled a little bit. But when he did have to claim corners, or he did have to, back Haaland off, or he did have to do certain things, it was good. I don't think he could have come out for that deflective De Bruyne cross, and the goal itself was a bit of a weird one. So, I'm not giving him a pass, but I would say it was just okay. There wasn't enough to analyse with Onana. They didn't give him anything to analyse himself, so that was fine. The 3 centre-backs, brilliant performances from all of them, and especially Harry Maguire. I mean, we talk about players being like vilified in the press and the media and even by their own fans, and Harry Maguire, for me, like, he is such a good example of how you have to be as a footballer nowadays, because you're on loads of money, and let's be honest, there's no reason, or there's no excuse, I should say, for fans to attack players personally. There just isn't. And with Maguire, well, I say there's no reason, unless they've done something completely disgusting on a personal level, then whatever. But with Maguire, he was hounded out by everyone. Like, I took the mick out of him at times. Like, there were, and I'm being accountable to that. I'm not proud of it, and I'm going a different. And that was a long time ago. I'm going a different way because the way I want this channel to go. But it is looking like, when you are in that status and you have that amount of money, like we like to in this country and in football in general, I guess, to like kind of poke fun at these players because they are living a lifestyle that we kind of all secretly wish we had, really. They seem to work less hard than we do and, get to play a game and earn loads of money. So there's always that stigma attached to them. And when something goes wrong, you just think, well, it's all right, mate. You've got 200k coming your way at the end of the week. It doesn't matter how you made us feel. You can go ahead and sleep in your 5-bed mansion, and we just have to go annoyed in the morning once we go to work with all our colleagues, but you don't have that problem, so whatever. So it's quite easy to jump on players' backs, and they're easy targets, and Maguire was a very easy target, especially when he wasn't playing well. But frankly, he was so solid in that game. And under Amorim in that back 3, we've seen it with England, like Harry Maguire can work in a back 3. So I'll be interested to see where he goes from now, but he shut Haaland out and he looked very good. Even at the last depth, he was the one that made the interception that enabled Ugarte to get the ball to Xerxes and Xerxes to go to the corner flag and waste time towards the end. So really good performance from Maguire. He was the best defender for me on the day. I thought De Ligt was solid. De Ligt has always been solid. He's been very consistent since he's come. I want him to improve on the ball, and I think as a back 3, you have to improve on the ball because you look over at Martinez and, Leach just does what he does, doesn't he? That's one of the best performances from Leach this season, probably the best. Never looked out of sorts. He wasn't really tested too much defensively, but on the ball, He picked some really good passes. He was very calm and, last minute assist for Amad. Really good performance from him. I was impressed with Yoro when he came on because, I'm impressed with all the defenders. Lindelof only had a few minutes, but it's like we never looked like we were going to concede. So that says a lot about our midfield and our defense. Mazraoui had a good game. He always seems to have a good game. And it's going under the radar how well he's been playing, but it was nice to see. Diallo was pretty average, poor at times with his crossing, and had we lost, I think he would have been the one player I looked at and been like, you went at the races today, mate. So he looks like someone who's burning out to me, because he played all of last season when everyone else was injured in any position which he had to, which can't be forgotten, by the way. And also, I think he went to the Euros with Portugal, didn't he? So he hasn't had much of a break. He's burning out. That's what I think with Diallo. So I'm trying to be kinder to him, but they need to improve. And I hope Malacia coming back can, reduce the amount we're using him, because it's too much at the minute. Mainu and Ugarte, take a bow. Like, Mainu comes on for Mount. I think we have to... I want to see the nature of the injury and how long he's going to be out for before I really say what I feel about him. But that's hard to take, because he had a good game against Pilsen, a good cameo. 10 minutes and you're getting hooked off of the derby. It's not a good look. And he's going to be the person who hurts more than any of us, we have to remember. So a player that young, 24 years old, with these chronic injuries, they seem chronic, and how he escaped a medical and for a £60 million transfer, I don't know. But we have to see what lies with him, because he can fit in Amorim's system, 1,000,000%. Just depends how long. And I thought Højlund also had a pretty decent game. Like, his hold-up play wasn't great, but he ran the channels, did what he had to do. Should have had a penalty, 1,000,000%, and Walker should have been sent off. But Ugarte, for me, is the one player that I want to spotlight ahead of the other two, because how people didn't assess the potential value of Manuel Ugarte is beyond me. Because this kid, he comes in, and we've been saying for years that we need someone who isn't a flashy midfielder, who is just going to go in and do the work that needs to be done. Kind of like what Fred was doing. Fred said this brilliant quote, which was like, he carries a piano so that the artist can play. That's what we needed someone to do, but to be better than Fred. Because as much as I like Fred, he was an attacking midfielder made to play a role that he wasn't meant to do, but he still did it. And he did it to the best of his ability. Sometimes it looked pretty good doing it. But we needed someone who was a specialist in that area. And Manuel Ugarte is a specialist in breaking up play and doing the simple things well. Those types of players are the ones that I love the most. Because you don't have to be flashy to get all the attention of all the others. But to put yourself behind the needs of the team and behind the needs of the teammates who need to do the flashy stuff, I think says a lot about your character. And we've got, finally, a young, fit destroyer in the middle of the park, entering his prime years, and we'll see that in a Man United shirt. We haven't had that in about 15 years. That's really nice to see. So hats off to him. And, he's going to be doing that role pretty much week in, week out. Amorim likes him, as we saw at Sporting. So the sky is the limit, I think, for Ugarte. And I backed that transfer when we got him. And I'm really happy that he's still there. And, I like these types of players. You saw me talking about Herrera before, or talk about Amrabat last season. And I just really like the type of profile he is. And I think there's only one way he's going to go, which is really good for us. And then Bruno Fernandes I thought Bruno had a poor game. But to then step up and make the change when needed says a lot about you. But Amad Diallo. I mean, what more do I need to say about this kid that hasn't already been said? I'm actually going to keep quite reserved on him. I just think he is such a precocious talent, and he seems to have a good head on his shoulders. And I think our manager has a good head on his as well. So I don't know what happened with Ten Hag. I don't even know what happened with Oli, but why this kid wasn't ever integrated properly into the first team picture via them, I don't know. But the fact of the matter is, this kid took the game by the scruff of the neck. A Manchester derby, his first one, I believe, starting anyway, took it by the scruff of the neck and said, you know what, I'm here to stay. This is my game, and I'm going to show you what I'm about. And that's exactly what he did. And it's incredible. But we've seen it before with youngsters at Man United, like a Jesse Lingard, or like a Marcus Rashford, or Paul Pogba, or maybe not Pogba, but Anthony Martial. We've seen it with these young guys who kick on and they hit somewhere and then something goes wrong. So I'm hoping under the new structure with a different culture with the new manager, that won't happen. But it remains to be seen. But for right now, we can just rejoice in what was a brilliant performance from Amad Diallo. And I think, from what he said after the game in terms of, he thanks God for this. And he seems a very grounded, good young man. And we're very lucky to have him. So he has nailed down that right wing spot, whatever you want to call it. For me, I think he needs to be in that role and not a wing back. I was actually quite impressed with Anthony as well. When he came on, I was weirdly impressed by him. Mainu, we've just gotten used to him doing well, and to the point where we don't even talk about it anymore. But Xerxes, did what he had to do in the final few minutes. But what was really good, and this will be my parting statement with it, because there's a lot to go under Amorim, and we can't say that this is the type of game that'll kick our season on. You hope it is, but games come thick and fast. We've got another one in 2 days. Do you know what I mean? 3 days, sorry. So there's a lot to unpack, and there's a lot to hope for. And we've gone, even in doing this channel, 2 wins on the bounce, 2 losses on the bounce, 2 wins on the bounce. Like, do you know what I mean? It's very difficult to say where we're at. But one thing I love about Amorim is that, all this speculation about leaks at the club, about Marcus Rashford, about Alejandro Garnacho, like, first of all, the leaks. I've worked in loads of organizations, like plenty of different places, freelance, part-time, full-time, whatever. If I leaked a product coming 2 days before it actually came out, which makes no difference to anyone else, it just drives the hype down a little bit, and maybe it makes marketing look silly, and it makes the the campaign budget that we've used kind of put to waste, for what we were trying to do, and I've just spoiled something, I would get sacked. How anyone can be a leak at Manchester United just boggles my mind, because I don't know who's going to the likes of Samuel Luckhurst or any of these other journalists who have big platforms and just willy-nilly giving them information, because they have given the starting lineup to the Manchester Derby, Ruben Amorim's biggest game in charge, away from home, when we're in a precarious state in the league, purely to unsettle Manchester United. It's doing no good to anyone. I can't imagine any of the players, if there are any involved, it's not doing any good to you, because what are you being bribed? What money are you getting out of that? What good are you getting out of that? But you're making things harder for the people that you share, lives with in the dressing room and around Carrington. It doesn't make any sense. So, and if it's a staff member, because there's loads of people that probably feel a certain way at Man United right now with what's going on behind the scenes, then get out. You don't deserve to be at Man United Football Club. And this would not be tolerated in any era of Manchester United. So get out of the football club right now, because you're serving yourself. You're not serving the needs of the football club. And I'm not trying to say, because the team got leaked that, Pep was able to change his plans and all that. I don't think it made a difference to Pep's plans. But what it has done is just made us look like an ununified team. Like, there's no unity going on. We're called Manchester United, and we have zero unity behind the scenes. It just makes us look stupid. And whoever you are, whoever this leak is, get out of the football club. Because, I had people, I made it clear on X, like all my different points on this leak. And basically I've said what I've just said now. But I had loads of people DMing me saying, bro, like my source at United says this, my source at United says that. Let's say 80% of them are lying, but 20% of them aren't. Let's just say that. Why the hell are your sources telling you anything? That's the problem. Stop leaking. Our stadium leaks. We don't need any more. Jeez. And I'm done with how that whole situation comes about. But, looking forward with Amorim, like, I don't think that'll be tolerated. And if any players are involved, sell them immediately. And there's loads of cryptic posts going out on loads of socials about, I know this and I know that, and it's regarding Rashford and Garnacho, whatever it is. If Ruben Amorim, I'm at the stage now where if Ruben Amorim decides that these players, no matter how big their profile is, they are not behind what he's trying to do at Manchester United, they're not in tow with where they're going, their egos are too big or anything like that, get them gone. Get them gone, because I'm tired of it now. We're all tired of it. And, I hate to use it as a role model or as something to base what we're going to be doing, but you have to give props to someone like Mikel Arteta, who in his first job in management did it at Arsenal, getting rid of Lacazette and Aubameyang. Aubameyang, one of their best strikers in the post-Wenger era, like, just got rid of him. And it's because of the cultural issues. So, there's no one that's bigger than the club, and no one should be bigger than the manager. And right now, I think we got a good one. The way he talks, the way he carries himself, what he says, what he puts behind his actions as well, what actions he puts behind his words, I should say. He seems like a proper grounded, stand-up guy who will do whatever it takes to make Man United successful. And I think he's got the tools, both the charisma in his personality and also with his tactical fluidity in order to get success. We just have to be brave enough to let him be in that position and support him on that journey. And I think we're going to do that. So that's what I think. I'm not going to get ahead of myself and say that we are somewhere, it's just a brilliant win. It's a big win for us. And we just have to see where we're going in the future. So for me, I'm very happy that we got it. And I'm happy that, we're now on, I know we're 13th, but we're 3 points off 6th. It's a weird little table, this. It's a weird season. And who knows? If we go on any sort of run, we could be in the top 4 before you know it, just after Christmas, if other results go our way. Do you know what I mean? So I think that, there's a lot to be happy about after that game. And I'm just looking forward to seeing what's happened next. So, yeah, that is me done. Appreciate you all stopping by. We're just ticked over 2,100 subscribers, so thank you so much for sticking by me. Subscribe if you are new around here. Like the video if you enjoyed. A giveaway is being planned at 2,500, so make sure you subscribe if you're not already. We've got a big giveaway going on my socials tomorrow, so make sure you get the links in the description for that. But yeah, thank you so much for sticking by in the video. If you have stuck around this long, I appreciate you. Drop a like if you enjoyed it. Share it around with anyone you like. Subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you. What's our next game? After Tottenham. I might be going to that. And then Wolves, right? I'll see you after another 2 wins.